What's up, guys? Welcome back from the MLG studios here in New York City. My name is axeltoss. I'm joined by axslav. We're currently broadcasting the final week of the Winter Exhibition, a tournament involving the losing 16 of the round 1 of the MLG Winter Championship event, and we're down to 6 players. This is one of the quarterfinals we're working on, trying to see who's going to be the 3rd player in the semifinals. Before we get into Game 3 between Sase and herO, youtube.com/officialMLGSE2. If you miss any of the matches, again, we're live pretty much every single weekday at 5 p.m. Eastern, rules of engagement directly after. If you miss anything, every single VOD is going to be available on youtube.com/officialMLGSE2 in full 1080p HD. So please take advantage of that. I know there's some people who have work, and then they come home and the stream is over, and they're not able to they're not able to watch the rebroadcast because they have to take care of their kids or something. But when they wake up in the morning at 6 a.m., they turn on the VOD and they check it out until they go to work. So definitely take advantage of youtube.com/officialMLGSE2 and subscribe. When you subscribe, we give you notifications, or YouTube sends you notifications when a new video is up, so you can always be notified.
Yeah, great content there. This series is getting very tight.
It is.
1-1. Sase won game 1. herO struck back in game 2, deflecting the DT aggression very nicely. And then his Colossi control. I don't think he lost like a single. He lost like 1 Colossi the whole game. It was very, very immaculate. Or maybe 2. There's that one moment where Zelts kind of ran the other way.
Right.
But overall, well played by herO. But Sase, of course, he still won that first game. So it's 1-1. Game 3 is going to be coming up right now on Daybreak.
Of course, this can be a big momentum swinger. Game 3 of best of 5 is so important because that means if you win it, you only have to win 1 more. And if you win it, you put your opponent in the pressure pit, right? They have to win a game or they're out of
match point.
Right, it's match point.
Whoever wins this will be on match point. Of course, Daybreak is going to be an exciting game. It often goes late. And last game, we saw some really fun late game positioning and control there.
In the top right-hand location of Daybreak, we have the red Protoss player representing Team Fnatic. He hails from Sweden and is currently living in Thailand. Very good Protoss player, considered one of the best foreigner Protoss. He is Sase. His opponent in the bottom left-hand location is the blue Protoss player. Very well known from his recent results in Pro League. He is representing Team CJ Entis. He is herO. Currently considered one of the best Protoss in the world, even.
He is. One thing to note, though, is as much skill as he has, you know, people watch his games, they say how amazing he is. He hasn't really had much success outside of Pro League. He did get the 4th at the one WCSH, but in general, like his big tournament, MLG Dallas, he went 0-3 in the first round, right? Yeah. Or even in GSL. He hasn't been able to qualify for Code A yet of GSL. So he's been this amazing, dominant Pro League beast, but hasn't really had that success outside of Pro League quite yet. And that may be a sign that Sase could actually potentially take him out here. We saw that game number 1 Sase took down. He's tied up with this guy. This is a guy who, like you said, he's considered one of the top couple Protosses in the world right now by most people who follow basically all the players.
Yeah. Absolutely. You see this Nexus rally for Sase?
Yes.
Pretty interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting.
So basically, there's been
it's faster.
Right.
Yeah.
There's been well, he kind of changed it just now. But if you have like all the APM in the world and you want to be really efficient, of course, bronze players don't do this. Silver players don't do this. Only do this if you're like Grandmaster. You can like send your probe just before the minerals,
and
right-click there, and then shift click to the minerals, because the probe decelerates when it goes towards the mineral line, but if you move it right near it and then mine, it's a little bit faster. I know it's tough to explain, but...
Well, that's one reason. There's actually a second one as well, in addition to that. Because if you draw a line from the center of the mineral patch to your nexus, that's the single rally point will go along that line. But sometimes there's a shorter line if you can hit a certain angle of the mineral. Because a probe can mine a mineral from, you know, a full 360 degrees around that patch. So sometimes there's a certain area of that patch, for example, that one on the far right, you rally to the bottom left of it, and that's a shorter path. Instead of if you right-clicked on it, it would kind of more go to the right and be slightly longer distance.
Yeah.
So
very nitpicky
technical,
stuff. You shouldn't be worried about that if you
unless you're Sase.
Right. These guys are professionals. Right? Every little advantage is going to help, especially a player like Sase, he's a guy who will put only 2 guys in gas, you know, be very efficient with his mining. Always have 16 mining until a certain point, stuff like that. But right now, let's talk about the opening build. Sase opening with the Twilight Council once again, and this is a 2-player map, so herO is not going to be scouting, just sending a Zealot to that watchtower, getting an early Mothership Core as well. This is something he's been doing pretty much every single game, getting that early Mothership Core out, which Sase hasn't necessarily been doing, which is pretty interesting when you compare the builds. Of course, Sase wants all of his gas to go into that progression toward the Dark Shrine, but this is the 3rd game in a row we're going to see this Dark Shrine play, and this Mothership Core, is that going to scout the Dark Shrine?
Oh, it might. It's coming in at the right angle. The Dark Shrine's on the left side of the base instead of the right, which makes it easier to scout.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, Sase has been doing this build every single time so far in the series. herO's mixing up a bit, though, actually taking the robot much faster. I think he saw it. He did see it, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he did.
Well, he definitely did now. There's no question about that. So he knows exactly what's happening. Adding in 2 more gateways, and I expect to see him expand off of this. Of course, the one observer is going to actually going straight for robotic support base. So maybe, yeah, maybe he has the idea that one base Colossi will work. And this is going to be tricky. If he can hit before, like, it's really going to come down to if Sase can realize what's going on. If Sase sees this one base Colossi and goes straight for Charge Archon, he should be able to defend this. But if he tries to put on attack like last game, and he loses 2 DTs early on or something like that, that's going to make his defense almost impossible, not to mention if he doesn't get charge complete in time.
Now, Sase, or herO definitely, well, I'm wondering if Sase saw the Mothership Core scout his Dark Shrine, because there's, there's a pretty big difference if you can tell your opponent scouted your Dark Shrine, and if you can't. Okay, I'm pretty sure he saw the Mothership Core, considering he's not making any
going
DTs.
Straight for charge.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he needs to do. He needs to go straight for charge. He needs to go up to actually 5 gateways right now. It's a Cup Pro production.
And here's what we talked about.
Yes.
Hallucinated Phoenix.
That's going to be a perfect way to scout. He sees exactly what herO's doing. He knows, okay, 4 gates, robotics bay, 1 base. Okay, it's 1 base Colossi. He's actually getting a robotics facility. That's a bold move. If he thinks he can finish this and use it to produce an immortal or 2, that may help his defense, but you also have to remember that that's 300 resources. Oh. Okay, there he goes, canceling it. That was a very bold move is to get that robotics bay. I think he had it queued up before he scouted. And now exactly going to 5 gates is what he needs to do. 5 gates, charge out Archon. And if herO was going for like a ranged Colossi push, he would lose for sure. Because by the time he could get Colossi range and a couple Colossi out, there'd be too many charge outs and Archons. But he's going with just a single Colossi, and that might mean he might be able to come in and take Sase out before his additional production kicks in. But Sase, DT counterattack, herO has nothing to defend this.
Oh my gosh, great move here from Sase. An observer is there. The probe's thinking about trying to surround, and that's what they're going to do. But this is as all-in as you can get from herO. He has pretty much no reinforcement potential here with a lot of probes dying. Well, not as much as his opponent. And Sase is going to back away. Force field in the ramp, but the Colossus saying, you know what? I don't care about that force field. I'm going to walk all over
Time Warp!
Time Warp going down. Mothership Core needs to be out from Sase. There's the Photon Overcharge. Onto the Nexus. Sase trying to retreat. The Time Warps continue to go down. Force fields from both of these players. The Zealot's actually going to be siphoned away from that sentry. The 2 Zealots on the other side going to charge up the ramp here, which means the Photon Overcharge isn't going to have as much use, considering herO's entire main army is going into the main, and herO is up 62 to 39 in supply. Sase desperately trying to get units on the field here to defend. He has plenty of minerals, but not able to warp in enough units at a time here.
He's got to utilize those 6 warp gates in production. He's warping in Zealots. The Colossi is almost focused down, but he can't quite finish it off. 14 life, and his Mothership Core went down. He has to keep his units alive, waiting for another set of rally, but if he loses his pylons, everything's going to be depowered. 2 warp gates unpowered.
2 warp gates unpowered. This Colossi so low on health from herO. Imagine if Sase would be able to kill that a little bit earlier. Stalker's being warped in. Going to try to target it down. It's staying alive. Finally dying to those Zealots, but is it too little too late? herO up 59 to 39 in supply. Now getting a Mothership Core back on the field here is Sase, desperately trying to hold on, but herO is pretty much cleaning up the main base at this point, targeting down those pylons. And Sase desperately trying to be able to warp in more units, but it's becoming tougher and tougher as time goes by.
He's pulling the probes off to try to kill the reinforcements. It's a situation where he had the income, but he just didn't quite have the time to utilize that production. His gateways had finished, but he couldn't quite warp in rounds. And now herO's in his base, taking out the last of those pylons. 1 more pylon gets up. A few more Zealots warp in for Sase, but they're only coming in a few at a time now, as his gateways are having a very hard time staying powered.
Yeah, herO has so much stuff over here. Taking a glance at the units tab, herO's got 11 Zealots and Immortal, 2 Sentries to the 2 Zealots and a Mothership Core here from Sase. Great play from herO, should be able to win this game. Yeah, there's the GG from Sase. And, what a fascinating game as far as from, like, really identifying what each player is seeing. So it started with Sase scouting out his, all right, I see what you're doing. I see the robotic speed, I see the robo. I'm going to tack on a bunch of gateways. And then herO also scouted, saw exactly how Sase was reacting, realized, okay,
You have to go now.
I need to push right now. Because if I wait any amount of time, his expansion is going to get up. His additional economy is going to get up. He's going to start pumping out plenty of Zealots, plenty of Charge Lots even, and Archons. And that's not something that's fun to go against, especially if you're on one base, you only have one Colossi. But herO did a great job keeping that one Colossus alive and pushing immediately to try to take advantage of that timing that he had.
One of the key things there, I think, was really that the time warp that herO did, because there was in that situation where if Sase could have kept that initial like 8 Zealot 2 Sentry force alive to group up with his Archon he had atop the ramp and his additional reinforcements, combined with the Photon Overcharge, if he got all those things together, he might have been able to hold because he could have put his units on the top of the ramp. So when herO tries to run past, but what he was trying to do is he was trying to stall herO out with force fields. But the Colossus just stepped on the force fields, and then a time warp made it so he couldn't retreat. And he lost most of his units before he could even make that stand at the top of the ramp. The Archon tried to hold it by itself, but you know, that's one Archon versus a whole army. Not going to go so well.
Not going to be fun. But again, great play there from herO. He's going to go up 2-1 in this best of 5, which means he's 1 win away from advancing to the semifinals of the Winter Exhibition here at MLG. Guys, stay tuned. Game 4 coming up.